Hi, I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ganny, the fabric and haberdashery shop. I love to make my own clothes from the things that I've got in the shop and write about it on my blog, which you can find the link of below. So today I'm going to talk you through my latest make for the winter season, which is this gorgeous coat that I'm wearing today. It is the Closet Case Patterns Clare coat, which is this one here. It comes with two versions, but I made this light coloured one here, so the other one's sort of asymmetrical and it's got a zip, but I've made this one which is a little bit shorter, and the pattern you can see on here on the technical drawings, this was the version I made here. It doesn't actually have buttons on it. It says that you can use press studs, the big large ones, but I decided to put bound buttonholes on it, so I can tell you a bit more about that later. So yeah, you can see lots of pictures about the coat on the blog, but I thought a video would just be nice so you can sort of see it in real life and see it moving on me, and how it hangs and stuff. It just gives you a bit of a better idea of what it's like in real life. If you have never made a coat before, it's a really good one to try. It's got raglan sleeves, so it's got these seams here which are sort of connected to the sleeve, and they're just a lot easier to put in than normal sleeves, set-in sleeves that have a seam sort of here. There's also lots of support online for making this jacket. Closet Case Files blog has got a sew along with loads of posts about everything you need to know. It's really good, and the instructions that come with the pattern as well are also good too. So if you fancy making a coat for the first time, and you're feeling brave, then it is a good one to do. So the fabric that I chose to make my coat it's an ex-designer woolen fabric, so it's really luxurious. It's got 90% wool in it, which makes it really cosy. It's not too thick, not too thin. It's just a nice weight for a coat like this. It's the colour is called nude, but it's actually quite a pinky colour, which I really like. But we do have lots of other colours of wool, which I can show you afterwards. So yeah, I'll talk you through some of the details that it's got. You can see it's got this quite a big collar here, which you can wear down as I'm doing just now, or you can just sort of bring it up, and then do the buttons up, and makes it nice and cozy around your neck. It is still like a little bit spacious around the neck, so if it was a really cold day you might want to wear a scarf underneath it as well, but I've not needed to so far. It's still been quite mild in the UK so far. So yeah, you can wear it like that, or as I was saying before, you can wear it down. If I stand back a bit, you'll see the sort of length and shape. So it kind of comes to mid-thigh on me, and it's got quite an A-line shape. It's got pockets at the side, which are great. Really love pockets. Keep my keys, my phone in them all the time, various other things. So the coat is also fully lined, so I'll take it off so you can see the lining inside. I did think about putting a layer of thin slate fabric in between the outer fabric and the lining, just for an extra layer of warmth, but in the end I decided not to put it in, just because I felt like there was enough body in the coat already, and because of the high wool content in the fabric I didn't actually really need it for warmth. So it's fully lined, that's the facing here, so I've got the same lining in the sleeves too, and added a little sort of loop just to hang it up there too, which was really handy. It's a sort of satin type lining that I've used. It's got a brown background with pink spots, which is quite cool, and it goes really well with the colour of the fabric, so really like that. It's nice to slip on and off. It's good when you've got a slippy fabric for lining, so you can take the coat on and off a lot easier. So if I talk you through the buttonholes, because as I said before, the pattern doesn't actually talk you through doing buttonholes, and doing that if you've just got a domestic machine at home, the chances are it probably won't be the buttonhole setting. There'll be too many layers to get through, so I did these bound buttonholes here, and I followed the tutorial on the Colette blog for that, which is really good. But what I would recommend is doing a little practice first. So I did a practice of the bound buttonhole just on some scraps that I had. So basically you just have this bit of fabric that sort of goes between your facing, which is this bit in the outer fabric here, which sort of gets folded to create the little lips that make the buttonhole like that. That's what it looks like from the back. on the side, and then in the facing you sort of make a little window, like a little post box for it. But as I said, all the instructions are really good for that in the blog. I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. I would just recommend following that, but do a practice just so you can get used to the technique and the handle of how your fabric deals with it. It's not actually that hard. It just takes a little bit of practice, and I think it gives a really good effect as well. The other thing that I would recommend practicing is also top stitching. So you can see that on this coat it's got a line of top stitching all the way around the coat. It's also got some top stitching just at the raglan seam here and at the back as well. So I practiced again on some scraps that I had. Make sure you've got a really sharp needle. I did have to change my needle a couple of times when I was making this project just because there's so many layers to sew through. The other thing that you want to practice is at the pockets here, just at the top edge, and the bottom edge there's a little bar tack just to stabilise it, and I practiced that as well. You can see my little practice bar tack. So it's always a good idea just to get an idea of how your machine will react to doing something like that through all the layers that you'll be sewing through. So yeah, practice before you do it on your actual coat. So in terms of the sizing for this pattern, it's a US pattern, so it goes from a 0 to size 20. My measurements most closely matched size 8. On the waist I was a little bit bigger than an 8, but because it's not fitted at the waist I decided to just make an 8 anyway. So I made a toile and it was a bit tight across the shoulders. So at these seams here, just there on the and the other side as well, I just did a slightly narrower seam allowance, and that made it a little bit bigger, so that was fine. And then the other thing that I wanted to recommend to you as well is one of these beauties. It is a clapper, and it's the first time I've used it for a whole project. And it makes the world of difference, especially if you're sewing with quite thick wool. It just sort of squashes your seams, so I didn't really apply that much pressure with my iron, almost just sort of hovered over the seams with lots of steam coming out the iron, so the fabric was warm and wet, and then after I'd done that I just plonk that on top and sort of squash it down a bit, and it makes your seams lie a lot crisper. It looks a lot better. It makes a big difference, so I would definitely recommend one of these. The other thing that's really useful, especially for sewing the seam that goes over your shoulder, just because it's curved and it's sort of a 3D seam, is a tailor's ham here, which is just like sort of 3D pressing aid, quite a firm base, and it just helps you sort of sculpt fabric a bit better. The other thing that's useful is a sleeve, like a mini ironing board or sleeve board or sleeve roll. This is really useful as well, just so that you can press around here, you can get into these seams to press them as well. So yeah, as I said before, I'll put a link to my blog post about the coat down below, so you can look on that and you can see more pictures of the coat, and I'll put links to all of the fabric and tools that I've used for it as well. And if you decide to make it, you can get some ideas from there. It is a really fun project to make. It did take a bit of time, but I think it was worth it in the end. The other thing that I also did as well was I interfaced the whole coat. If you decide to make this project, you'll see that there is a lot of pattern pieces and a lot of them are for interfacing, so most of the coat is interfaced. But instead of cutting that out separately, I lay my main fabric out before I'd cut anything out, and I block fused the interfacing to it. So I fused it in just certain areas, enough to sort of keep it together, and then I cut my outer pieces out, but the interfacing was sort of attached, so cut the two fabrics out at the same time, which saved a lot of time with cutting, and then after I'd done that I properly fused them all together. So that was a few other people have done that as well. You'll see in the blogs of other people who've made this coat, they've done the same thing, and it works quite well for me as well, so I would recommend that too. But yeah, if you've got any questions about it that I can help with, can let you know how I got on, just leave me a comment here or on my blog. I'm on Instagram and Twitter as well, so you can leave me a message there. So I hope you found that useful, and I shall be back soon with another make for you.